Hello and welcome to the Pin Man. There we go. All right, too deep or not too deep? All right, we're talking about dip pins today, and we're going to be looking at two primary types of dip pins. You have your glass dip pin, which I have this Rohr and Klinger. Anyway, this is a glass dip pin that I got from Goulet Pins, and it ran me about, I think about $25, somewhere in that range. I will put the right price right there. Boom. All right. And you also have this new pin. I guess it's new. I think they just started selling these. This is the enthusiast pin. Okay, and I have mine in a medium. This pin will come in either the black wooden body, or you can get a lighter color. I'm not sure what type of wood. I'll put that information up there as well. And it has a steel nib. Now, unfortunately, these nibs are not interchangeable with other nibs. You cannot buy a separate nib and pull this out and put another nib in there. So I'm going to go through each one of these pins and kind of give my idea on just a quick overview, I think, of what I kind of like and don't like about these pins, and I'll give you a writing demonstration. What I like about the idea of a dip pin is you don't have to go through the hassle of cleaning out a converter and doing a lot of deep cleaning on a nib. These nibs are, when you write with them, if you want to clean them, when you want to clean them, after you're done using them, anyway, you just dip them in water and brush them off, and they come clean. Both of these, both the glass and the steel nib. All right, the glass pins, obviously, you're going to want to take care that you don't drop them and break them, so that there is that disadvantage is breakage. This particular pin, I think one of the things you got to be careful with the glass dip pins is the quality of the tip there. Sometimes they're sort of rough, and I've read where some people have good experiences getting a good one, and others have not. My experience was mine was a little rough, and what I did was I took some very fine sandpaper. So let's say this is a real smooth type of micro mesh type of sandpaper. Anyway, I just put the nib tip in there and kind of coned it around and tried to smooth it out as best I could, and I think I got it all right. The biggest thing about dip pins is the learning curve. Now on this one, it actually gives you as far as how much you're supposed to dip in there. I had a real hard time with this glass pin, getting it to write correctly, and so either it was a hard start, which during the demonstration, I will probably do a hard start. I don't know, but I've learned some principles on these things that you don't want to dip the whole nib in there, just maybe halfway. And in fact, on this one, you can see that they give you a line, and the line is right there by the breather hole. You see that line? Anyway, so you just dip it to that point. Okay, so let's go ahead and get a little more detailed look at these. This has a kind of an ice cream cone, soft serve ice cream cone type of swirl design, like you would twist it, and that all these grooves here will hold your ink, and then it has this nice tip at the end there, or stop for your fingers. The grip here, I believe, is pretty comfortable. One of the things I like about this pen rather than some of the others that I've seen is some of the others are really big. The grip is really big, seem to be. And so that's why I kind of went with this one. It's a little bit smaller. And I like the design. This one comes in different colors, and I will put those up there too. And I'm sitting here twirling it, and you can't even tell, can you? All right, so anyway, it just rounds out there. This is really skinny, so that takes a little getting used to. And as you run your fingers up, there is some inconsistency with the width, but that's okay. I mean, this is glass, and it's probably hand blown or handmade. I'm assuming. I don't know. They have some system there. So holding it in my hands, it's fine. It is kind of skinny, but it is fine for what you need. And the advantage of this one, or disadvantage, however you want to look at it, is it puts out a really bold line. And it's very wet at first until you've used some of it, then it dries out. And there's a way you can somewhat avoid that, and I'll go over that too. This pen is just I'm assuming that that's stained. I don't know that it's like an African blackwood or ebony, pure ebony. I don't think so, because it's awfully light. So I'm thinking it's stained ebony. If this was a solid ebony pen, I think it would be a little heavier. Now, I don't know if you can tell there. You should be able to see how it's flat. That's kind of nice. It's kind of a roll stop. Okay. So how about we go into a demonstration of these two pens and how they write. I am going to get, they call it an ink shot. I think that's pretty good. And we are going to use Diamine Blue Black for this. Now you can just dip them in your ink bottle, but for me, and especially for this demonstration, I want to make sure that I am just doing that halfway mark. And it's a little harder to see that you're halfway into the bottle when you got labels and all of that stuff. So I'm just going to dip this halfway and then kind of touch it on the sides to get off some extra there. And this one's not too bad. There we go. Here it comes. Here it comes. Roar. Let's try to make an and thing. All right, forget it. And Klingner. Glass. Oh my goodness. Okay, you're supposed to be able to twirl it around. Still got ink in there. Dip it up again. Glass. Dip. You know, I've seen other reviews where people do this and they don't seem to have near as hard of a time. Maybe I'm writing too much of an angle, straight angle pen. Okay, that seems to help. All right. So as you write, you know, it starts getting a more normal line. Right here, it's really bad. I'm just gonna get up a little more and see what it does this way. Yeah, see, it's really, I'll just try not to write as hard there, which does seem to help that it doesn't put out quite as juicy a line. And then it starts wearing down a little bit. But it does write once you get used to it. And I don't know, I really don't know how to avoid getting that initial dump. Let's see, maybe just write a little lighter. So that's what I'm doing. And which is kind of nice because it gives you a chance to get that. You don't have to write real heavy. Okay, so that's working pretty good. So I've actually did a lot of practice with this, and so it seems to be writing pretty good. I can't really complain about that. So you will get a bolder line, and then it'll start trickling off, but you know, that's okay. All right, got me a glass of water, and then I just set this down on the table. It doesn't seem to... See, I'd gone to the kitchen, came back real quick, and it's not all dried out. Let me go ahead and clean this out. And just get your... Swish it around a little bit. All right. Paper towel. Dry it off. All right, there you go. Now with this Pilot steel tip dip pen, it will, you see this part here that it almost looks like that nib would come out. You know, for the life of me, I don't know why they didn't make this with exchangeable nibs, and why you can't get this in more than a fine or medium. I don't know if they maybe extra fine. It is a comfortable pen to hold. You got the body, obviously the tip is narrow up here, then it widens up, and then it starts narrowing as you get closer, and then it widens as you get toward the base of the nib. All right, I'm just going to take and dip this halfway into the ink up to the breather hole, and then that gets you, can you see how that ink kind of pools up? I'll try to zoom in on that on my... So this is Pilot. Euro Sushi dip pen. Now what I like about this pen over the Rohr & Klinger glass dip pen is that it writes with more of a consistent. It starts writing right off the bat. No hard starts, no skips. It's a smooth writer. And even right after I dip it, it doesn't gush out ink. I mean, this is holding its ink pretty good. You're not going to write a page with one of these. Okay, it's starting to run out. So what do I like and not like about each one of these pens? The glass dip pen has a, for me anyway, there was a big learning curve. I had to do a lot of experimentation and a little bit of research. I saw some other YouTube videos, but they didn't really explain a lot about angles and how far to dip and all that. And so I just kind of observed what they were doing and then experimented on my own and come up with that. So I think it's great if you're going to use it for ink testing, because it will put out a broader line. That would be an advantage. The disadvantage is that it's glass. It could break easily, so I keep mine in the storage container that it came with. But yeah, so the learning curve is an issue. I think they're nice looking. This particular one, I think, has a pretty decent grip on it as far as comfort wise, and so I'll use this for my ink testing, but I wouldn't actually write with it unless I really wanted a bold line. I wouldn't write in a journal or anything. On this one, I think the style is good. It's nice and simple. The nib writes very well. That does give you the indication of where you're supposed to stop with your ink level. I like this one if I was going to use it for just writing, and let's say for instance, if there was something I needed to write, but I didn't really want to fill, and I wanted to write with a certain color. You know, sometimes you get a greeting card and it's a different color than what you have inked up in your pens. Maybe you have 2 or 3 pens, 5, 10, I don't know how many you keep inked up at one time. But let's say you didn't have one of them inked up with the color that you needed to write your greeting card with. Well, but you did have ink that was that color that you wanted to use. A pen like this would be great because all you got to do is dip it in and, you know, write with it, and it does a good job. It keeps a pretty consistent line until you start running out, and really that line doesn't change until right before you start running out. So if you just occasionally take a dip into your ink, it will come out. I mean, it will flow, you know, fine. So I think that's an advantage of this type of dip pen, and so I'll keep mine around. What I don't appreciate is the fact that you cannot change the nibs, and the fact that you only have, I think it's only 2. I think they only come in fine and medium. They may come in extra fine, but the medium is a Japanese medium, so it's kind of thin. But so it would really be nice if, you know, you could get a broad nib or a stub for this. I mean, that would be excellent. But yeah, I think this is good. It's a comfortable pen to use. So both of these pens I recommend, and I also like the fact that the body has this flat side to where it's like a roll stop. All right, there you go. Dip pens. Have a great day.